All right. Hi. How are you? Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I'm kind of curious if anyone's going to be here but me today because I know it is Black Friday and I didn't really intend originally to stream today, but schedules just worked out. And I thought, well, we've got the time. Why not do it? So I'm here. Hopefully, folks are here too. Hey, Terrence, no jazzed trumpets. The jazz trumpets. No jazz trumpets, no jazzed trumpets. I do use a fanfare as my intro for the podcast, but I don't use that for this. Maybe I should. I'll have to figure out. Maybe I could work that in because I do kind of like the fanfare. I feel like that's works for me. It fits. It fits. Terrence, how was your Thanksgiving? Hope it was grandiose, or simple, whatever it is. Hope it was enjoyable, maybe is the bottom line. Whether it was grand or simple, have a swig of what is this? Cranberry raspberry spindrift that my wife got a whole bunch of from Costco. And I don't like cranberries, but I kind of gotta drink it. She's insisting I drink them. And it's okay. It's not my favorite. Oh no, it was trash. Oh well. Oh, you worked. Oh, sorry about that. Hey, walking the path. So glad to see some folks here. Last I checked, I guess the vote, nobody really voted. I think I got one vote. So I believe by that process, we're going to do the regular scheduled OSR Reddit read along, which I am happy to do. Hey, Elfbait. Happy folks are getting in here. Let me go and get OSR. There we go. LP, whenever I see that hey, I think of Krusty the Clown, classic Simpsons hey kind of thing. So that's how I think of it in my head. So it always gives me a little bit of a giggle. I'm just gonna give it a refresh, even though I just popped open the tab a minute ago. All right. What have we got today? In celebration of Buy Nothing Day, our entire digital catalog is free to download. I don't know Leyline Press, but maybe I should just. I'm going to plug this because, hey, it's free. Free digital stuff at Leyline Press. I'll plunk this into the chat. Really nothing to review here, but hey, if you're somewhere where you can, might as well go and grab some stuff from Leyline Press. We've got the Isle of Glaslyn OSC Adventure module. Maybe I'll download some of these and we can look at them at some point. Maybe I'll have to get them later. I'll just add them to my cart now. Salvage Union Beta Quick Start. I don't even know what that is, but might as well grab it. And Mutants. Looks like cats with laser beam eyes. Who can? Shadow of Mog, the post Brexit tabletop RPG. And then, print friendly, low art. Sure, why not? All right, I'll check out later. Terrence says free is my favorite price point. Yeah, hard to not love free. Agreed. So go grab that when you have a chance. I'm going to go back to here and I'll finish the checkout later on. New creature in mini dungeon for OSE. Oh, let me definitely give this a thumbs up. Oh, here we go. This is what I like. Is there somewhere we can? Is this literally just an image? It is. Can I not? Come on, Edge. Edge. Okay. the browser Edge, not the professional wrestler Edge. All right, it's not going to let me fine tune this on here. All right, I guess this'll work. Oh, I'll get the link at the end. Might as well read through this. This is some kind of creature and then their lair. The creature is called Velu, the Shaggy Beast, and it's from the folklore of the Sarthe and the Pays de Loire in France. So this is based on some kind of French mythic creature, and then we have its lair. I guess let's read the creature first. In parentheses, parenthetically, it is known as the Shaggy Beast. All right. A very ancient amphibious creature, inherently evil, so much so that Noah himself refused it access to his ark before the flood, which it survived. It is a female wingless dragon. Reptilian head created at the head of a long carapace, ovoid body as big as a small house covered with giant spikes, serpentine tail whipping the air, all of an unhealthy bright green color. Probably the only representative of its species. Cunning, bitter, vengeful, it chooses as its lair caves on the banks of rivers and streams, from which it devastates the surroundings. All right, that's very cool. Oh no, Edge in Money Plane. Yep, I heard about that through. Oh, where did I see a thing about Money Plane? I've not watched Money Plane, but it was shoot. Now I can't remember, but yes, I did see something about Money Plane with Edge in it. Brutal. Linkian says every dungeon needs a stinky cavern room. Absolutely. Oh, I see. Yes, you've been reading ahead to the map. We'll get to the lair in a minute. So first, about the creature, AC 1 or 18, depending on if you're doing ascending or descending armor class. 8 hit dice with a basic 31 hit points if you just want a number. And then for attacks, it's got 2 claws, a bite, a tail, which does something special, or breath or spikes. So it's got 1 or 2, 3, 4 attacks. It's got a THAC0 of 12, aka plus 7 hit, movement speed of 90 feet, 30 feet in combat, 120 feet, 40 feet swimming. And then we got some saves. It's chaotic. Got some experience. Treasure type H. NA. What's NA? What's NA? For some reason I'm not thinking about what NA is if it's obvious. It's got it has a breath weapon that is a 90-foot long cone of fire. It speaks Draconic. Ooh, Sumerian. I like that. And common. Innate magic. Once a week, Velu can call for the waters of a river to rise and flood the surrounding area to a radius of 1 mile, enough to risk drowning the creatures present and prevent movement by land. That lasts for 1d6 days. Wow, that is pretty long. Oh, number appearing. Thank you. Thank you, Linkian. Yeah, sometimes with these abbreviations, if I'm not used to seeing them, I think I'm used to seeing just, a hashtag, hash or hashtag, #1 or something like that. So thank you. When I see NA, I think of, not applicable kind of thing. So once a week, it can call for the waters of a river to rise. That's a very cool, dramatic effect, and it lasts for a while. So that's interesting. Spikes. As a ranged attack, Velu can throw 3 spikes from her back per round. Wow. Damage 1d8 plus poison. Range as a crossbow, poison, save, or die. Oof. Each failed melee attack against Velu deals 1d6 damages to the attacker. Is that part of the spikes? Oh, I see. Because of her spikes. She's a tough old bird. But I mean, she is HD8, so she's not exactly meant for beginners. And then the tail, Velu can attack everyone in its rear half with the whipping attack, which deals d8 damage. So it's basically, you get behind her, she's sweeping her tail back and just pounding everybody with it. The base of her tail is not protected. This is a detail known to very few people, but anyone who knows this and is located in her back half can attack her with AC 9. Oh, that's interesting. And 30% of the time she might be sleeping. And this was, give a credit to the author, Written and I presume illustrated by Nabok Farnak at themerrymushmen.com. So very cool, different sort of dragon. Now we get this lair of the beast. I like the blue map. Let's see, it's got 9 different areas. Due to her size, Velu cannot enter the hatched areas. Oh, that's also interesting. So the map has some areas that are clear and some areas that are hatched. And now we learn at the very top that the hatched areas are places that are too skinny. They're part of the cave system, but they're too small for her to get in. But these are places that the party could get in. So it definitely gives you some options if you find yourself in these caves. Velu is chasing you, or maybe you're trying to sneak around past Velu. You can avail yourself of these areas if you recognize them that, oh, these areas you can't get into. But given they are numbered, presumably other things might be in there, either hazards or creatures. The first area, which looks like it's the main entrance, is called Pebbly Beach or Pebble Beach by a river. There's a pestilent smell coming from inside the cave. A strange crow on a rock says, "She'll give me your eyes." He sneers before flying off. That's creepy. Kind of want to know more about the strange crow now. Once you get past the Pebble Beach, we come into a stinky cavern, as Linkian spoiled a minute ago. Covered in moss, large boulders everywhere, carcasses of many rotting things, each turn spent searching, 2 and 6 chances to find. 1, chain +1, 2, 32 gold teeth, 3, a third level magic user spellbook, 4, a cursed ring. Also very nice. Very old cave paintings on the wall depicting men descending from flying ships. In one of the narrow cracks to the west, a gnome dead for a few days and invisible. Oh, that's super interesting. All right, I like this stuff very much. Let's see. Lincoln says, I guess about the hatched areas. That's a very, let's see. Oops, let me show his comment. That's a really cool mechanic. Gives the players an escape hatch for some really dynamic escapes. Tropey in the best way. Yeah, absolutely. Right. You could squeeze through some areas. The dragon, maybe his head comes snapping in, but then it can't get through. So then it's trying to go around and find another way, maybe, because it looks like from the way these go, there's some nice interplay between the smaller passages and the passages, the main ones that Velu can go down to. So, for example, there's one of these hatched passages leading from this area to the Stinky Cavern, and you can keep going in these hatched areas, but either way you go, because there's a fork with a split, one of them is going to reemerge into the main cavern where Velu can get to you. Or you could kind of keep going, but even if you keep going, at some point you get to, it looks like some kind of underground river, in which case Velu could try to intercept you there. But if you make it out past there, you could continue going, and there's a couple more branches. And then eventually you'll have to kind of rejoin the cavern in a couple of places. So you've got these areas you can get into, but also these choke point kind of sections where you can be intercepted. Yeah, agree. Totally agree with that. Okay. After the Stinky Cavern, the main passage, the main thrust of the caves leads us from the Stinky Cavern into the Fungus Cave. Knee-high mist hiding a deep pit containing a trapped troll. The mist emanates from a hot spring at the bottom of a pit. And we can see there's the pit, which is really a far away. This is a long area. I wouldn't mind with this. So we're not given distances. There's no squares, which I'm fine with. But I wouldn't mind in some of these where the river sort of tremendously long is to get a sense of what the scale should be. The stinky, something in parenthetically, Foggy Cave, X amount of feet long, maybe so much wide at the widest, just to give me some kind of idea. Of course, I can, just mock it out however I want to, but I kind of always like if there's room, and you probably could make it fit, right? Just to give me some rough ideas. And then that will lead down to the turbulent underground river. If you can hold your breath for 3 minutes, you can ride it to the outer river. And that's about all there is there to it. So Dangerous, dangerous to get across. If you can hold your breath long enough, you can make it out. But of course, 3 minutes is not super simple. And if you're an armor or something else, maybe easier said than done to emerge out of the river again. But there's an option for you. If we had taken the other way and gone into one of these smaller passages that Velu cannot follow us in, that would take us along the Path of the Dead. In this area, countless niches containing ancient skeletons with weird ovoid skulls with 3 orbits. Each turn spent searching, 2 in 6 chances to find 25 gold pieces in golden and antique trinkets, max 1200 GP. With every find, 1 in 6 chance, gloomy complaint and chattering teeth, the characters lose 100 XP per level. Whoa. So there's a little bit of a level drain, XP drain going on there. That's kind of cool and creepy. Definitely atmospheric and plays on this. I like it. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. We haven't read all the rooms, but there's this definitely this kind of alien, ancient astronaut kind of thing going on. But it's basically in the background. It doesn't really have to do with Velu so much as Velu has probably taken this place over and turned it into her lair. But it just gives it a real interesting vibe that you have to kind of discover. You could go through this and never spend enough time in this sticky cavern to see the cave paintings. You don't happen to take this branch, so you never find the Path of the Dead. And so it ends up feeling kind of very mundane. Or you could go this other way and you've got all this interesting sci-fantasy strangeness going on. Off of the Path of the Dead, there's an old tomb. A blade trap at the entrance triggers on a 2 and 6, 3d8 damage. There are 3 stone coffins, each containing a weird embalmed body, 800 gold pieces in antique jewelry, and an alien metal crown. The body in the middle coffin also holds a scimitar +2 in glowing blue glass, harder than steel. Touching it causes a wraith to appear and 46 skeletons to animate in 5. I think they mean in 5. So the wraith animates here in the tombs, and then behind you in the Path of the Dead, 46 skeletons animate. So that turns into a really tough encounter because you're going to be boxed in by default. And of course, even if you were to run out of there and then run away, there's Velu to deal with. So, and we can imagine if the dead will stick to this Path of the Dead area or if they will continue to follow you. Okay, so then both these paths get to the river. Then if we follow the main cave system or the wider cave system, we end up at Velu's den. Morbid, sickly light emanating from a giant radiating green crystal emerging from the rock in the middle of the area. Any non-chaotic creature touching the crystal or staying for 1 hour in this room must save versus death or lose 1 con point permanently. I like that very much. And it sounds horrible, right? Oh, save versus death, or you're going to lose a con point permanently. But you have to be there for an hour, and you can play up the morbidity of this light, especially as it's affecting lawful characters. And that they decide, with all that happening, hey, let's camp out here for an hour. Well, then make your save. But I think you have enough warning and enough time, certainly, to leave the area. Let's see. In addition, 2 large boulders block access to the next room. 1 full turn and cumulative force of 22 to move them. Cumulative force of 22. Does that mean putting your strength together to do 22? Piled up treasure to the east of the room. 25,000 gold pieces in different coins, gems, jewelry, gewgaw, I don't know what that is, silverware, etc. Drums of panic and helm of alignment changing, grimoire in ancient Greek titled Necronomicon, and a 3-foot-high egg Velu stole from a green dragon in a few days north in the mountains. Will hatch in 1d4 weeks. Definitely some interesting loot. The helm of alignment changing, certainly helpful if you're lawful and you want to go back into that other room for some reason. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. But if we unblock the passage ahead, we get to the Fungus Cave that has an agglomerate of mushrooms of all sizes and colors. By moving without care, a 3 in 6 chance to create a cloud of toxic spores. And I guess the nature of this toxicity, roll some dice, either cause fear, sleep, or cloud kill. Wearing a gas mask. I don't know, do we have any gas masks? But I suppose if you did, you could wear it. And lighting the room with a lantern. Oh, wearing a gas mask and lighting the room with a lantern is a gnome that's looking for his missing cousin. Okay. So we could then perhaps tell the gnome if we happen to find his cousin in the other room. Though you might leave out the fact that you probably, if you found it, looted it. But you could tell them that. And then you can get outside. And you come out between the roots of a large oak tree. Home to a music-loving harpy who's present on a 2 and 6. I would like that kind of presence for Velu herself and maybe where she would be in these different areas. Might be interesting to, I suppose we could do it ourselves. You basically have eight areas. Well, really, if we're just counting the places that Velu can get to, 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 6 areas, essentially, if she's not outside. So maybe you could roll a d8, and on a, as the party's entering, you roll a d8 and determine either on a 1 through 6, she's in one of the 6 interior areas of the cave, and if it's 7 or 8, she's elsewhere. And then we have some hooks. The first hook is Zarat, the mage, thinks he knows Velu's weak point, a narrow area at the base of her neck. He gives this information and the location of her lair. You will leave with the treasure of the beast, of which he only wants an ancient grimoire that he knows is there. So he's wrong about the point, right? Because it's not the base of the neck, it's the base of the tail. 2, traces of the existence of an ancient civilization are said to be found in this cave by the river. Bring a proof to Borotoboros, the wizard. He will reward you greatly. So we have Zarat and Borotoboros. All right, very cool. I will put a link since I forgot to do that before. I already got my upvote. Velu. There we go. I'll just put that there. That was that. Really excellent work. Well designed, very clear. There's a couple typos, but it's free. And I like a lot of the stuff that it's doing. So well done. Well done, Nabok for knock at themerrymushmen.com. Let's see what else we can find. Map and music to inspire your next gaming session. I guess let's take a look. I don't know if I don't want to listen to the music. There's the map. It's very simple. You got some kind of we got mountains. The one thing is I'm not sure. Okay, it looks like we have. I'm not sure about the red and the blue. If that's supposed to indicate something. Now you got some river, or I don't even say river. You have some kind of. Actually, it looks like there's a river and there's the ocean. Town on one side, forest on the other side. Beyond the forest, some kind of mountains, something in it, and then some kind of soundtrack. I'll give it a vote. Let's see what they have on their horoscope design. I'll give it a plug. Hey, it's Thanksgiving. Take a plug, horoscope design. Journey into lands of the unknown. There we go. Check it out if you're feeling some journeys, or it's called Horos the map and Horos the journey. Lots of nice giving, folks in the OSR community. Take a upvote on your comment as well. Did I upvote them? I did. Always remember to upvote your fellow Redditors, people, unless they're, doing something horrible. Don't downvote just because you don't like it or it's not for you. Goblin Manor. Feel obligated to share this fantastic free 67-page adventure that they found. Found as in where? Brother Juniper posted his Goblin Manor to his blog in fall 2020. I think it's criminal for something this good to have seemingly flown under the radar. The manor is packed full of content, characters, factions, exciting developments, fascinating opportunities for role playing. The maps and illustrations are beautiful and charming, truly stunning quality for a free playtest adventure. Also, the strongest Gormenghast vibes of any RPG content I've ever seen. Adventure is intended for 2d6s of levels 1 to 3. Rule set is 5e, but easily adapted. I'll share the blog post. Does the blog post have link? It does. All right. So here we go. Let's read this a little bit. This was posted a while back, but it may have been missed. This is from the blog. It's called The Goblin Flowers of Brother Juniper. In the chat and you want to follow along, there's the link. Originally posted on Wednesday, August 12th, 2020 by Brother Juniper. Titled Mapping Goblin Manor. Goblin Manor, my Goblin Bureaucracy adventure, now has jaunty isometric maps. If you haven't already, you can pick it up at the link. This is a drive-through link. If you go to the link that I posted, you can grab that URL. When I initially envisioned Goblin Manor, it was going to be a point crawl through an endless palace with procedurally generated encounters between major nodes. For better or worse, I got seduced by a map of the Biltmore Manor, and that became the template for the first journey through. When I decided to put the adventure out there, the goal was always some kind of isometric map. They convey tons of information, and I have found them unaccountably captivating ever since Bill Keene's Family Circus and Martin Handford's Where's Waldo. Some of the more immediate aspiration includes the maps from the Brambley Hedge series by Jill Barklam. Luca Regic's luscious maps, if you don't have his ultraviolet grasslands yet, stop and fix that now. And Jason Thompson's amazing module summaries. The hardest decision was the scale. The temptation was to simply draw everything, and while there's a certain beauty there, I would never finish. I lacked Jonathan Newell's focus and work ethic. Once I figured out the right level of detail, things fell into place. There was a lot of information to convey, so I settled on a scheme where any inhabitants were coded red, and the walls and floors were light gray. This made things more comprehensible and made what's going on in each room a lot clearer. And there's a sample of a floor map. I broke the larger maps into smaller contextual maps that would allow you to have the information close at hand as you read the module. In most cases, each area is broken up into a 2-page spread with minimap, putting everything right in front of you as you read. A lot of adventures focused on usability have adopted this strategy. Yes, I like that a lot. I remember seeing it in, Tomb of the Serpent Kings, I think uses something similar to that, and yes, it is great. Just as an experiment, I started coloring in one of the maps, and it became clear that this could be a next step. Here is him tinkering. All right, I actually am going to go look at the drive-through. It's on Google Drive. You can get it from the link. I'll just give it a look, and I will just want to give it a quick scroll through. Really pretty pictures. Yeah, I think I might have to do a read through this one, even though it's for 5th edition. And most folks do not come to me for 5th edition material, but hey, good content is good content, right? Is it downloading? Did it download? It did. Good. So I will grab that later, but very cool. Please go check it out. It's free. So what could possibly go wrong? Give them an upvote for sharing it. We are just cruising along today. Cruising along. Okay, someone is posting that there's a bundle of holding available. I'll have to check that out later. Someone's got Jeremy Hart, who I know. Friend of the channel, Jeremy Hart's got a Black Friday sale going on, so check that out. something called General Store in Hound's Head. Okay. Just the cover. Is there something I can actually read here in the comments? Where is it going to take me? All right, it's Patreon. Patreon, but it's free? Let's follow it along. Okay, so I will post a link to this from Tim Short's Patreon. General Store in Hound's Head. There's the link. I go to downloads and then I open it up. All right, let's just take a quick peek. 8 pages long. This is a micro location, number 35, in, I presume, a series of micro locations. Welcome to Samuel's General Store in Hound's Head. I'm guessing Hound's Head is a town. He has a lot of this and that, and sometimes other. Prices may seem high, but his stock sells nonetheless. With supplies running low, every iron spike counts. A little bit of the little sales pitch. General store, it's 2 stories. We have some, I don't care about that. This, I mean, not that it's not important what the square footage is, but it's not important at the moment. D100 silver pieces in the till. I suppose if you tried to steal, at least you have an idea how much is in the register. Owned by Samuel, employs his son, sometimes his wife, his brother, every so often. Wow, prices 3 times book value. He will buy back some used gear, 50% of listed cost. But maybe a little bit more if you're a good haggler. Sells the gears list. Has weapons and armor sometimes. Oh, his suppliers are cut off. I see. So that is... Oh, so maybe that's because... Okay, so that explains the scarcity since suppliers are cut. His supply lines are cut off, and he kind of relies on adventurers bringing in stuff. There's basically a 3 in 6 chance you'll have an item that the party's looking for. Odds are worse the more if the items are more expensive. And we're in a silver piece based economy here. On rare occasions, a magic item is not recognized and offered for sale as if it were a normal item. There's a 5% chance that a random item has magic powers. That's kind of a cool touch. And we have some box text on the NPCs. Oh, and then they give us an equipment list. Very nice. So is this his 3 times, or is this a book list? I don't know. Probably this must be his 3 times. I don't think standard rations are 15 silver or 15, gold/silver, whatever you're using. And then we get some random oddities. We get some tables. Oddities. There are times when Samuel gets odd items that doesn't fit into his normal stock. He keeps these items behind the counter. Because he doesn't know how to price them, he guesses or asks those he trusts what he can charge. There's a 1 in 10 chance he has an oddity. Roll each week. And the random oddities we get are raw gemstones, perfumes, textiles, herbal concoctions, spices, tobaccos, toolkits, and wines. I like that a lot. And then we've got a random week generator. Each week brings in customers of various types with various amounts of coin to spend or merchandise to sell. Roll on this table once a week to determine how the week went and how it influences the stock available within the store. Oh, this I like a lot. We're going to roll a 6-sided die. And then, depending on the result, you might get no change, it's a slow week, inventory doesn't change. And then Samuel will accept lower prices more often. You're going to haggle, you get a +1. On a 2, an adventuring party is bought out basically half the store. So your chances of an item being in are now halved. On a 3, a small supply wagon came through and replenished the stock. You get an +1 increase to the chance of... like there's a typo there, having an item. On a 4, an adventuring party has returned and sold a bunch of stuff to Sam. A chance of a weapon being in stock increases by 1. On a 5, supplies have dried up and no one has sold anything. All items are at a 1 for being in the store. So basically a 1 in 6 chance. And then on a 6, someone has sold Samuel a potion, randomly determine what potion it is. I like that a lot. Nice way to add variety. And this is something I have to say I like about this is I think often it's kind of abstracted away about bringing back stuff to sell. Well, one, a lot of parties when dealing with weight aren't going to bring back a bunch of junk to sell. I think maybe at the beginning you're gonna try to bring up every spear, every dagger, every whatever that you found in your first dungeon. You might drag back to town. You're probably not going to do that after a while when you start realizing that if assuming you're counting encumbrance, that there's more valuable stuff too. But this is a nice way of reflecting that sort of thing. Not only reflecting it in what the party is doing. If you bring back a bunch of short swords, here's a guy who it's not just kind of assumed will buy it, but you can oh no they'll buy it. And then also the fact is that there are other parties who are out there doing the same thing and bringing back stuff. So I like it. It kind of adds in that little bit of dynamism, but also a little bit about the world and the fact that you're not the only adventuring party out there, and everybody's going through and looting stuff and then selling it. And definitely like the idea there might be, hey, this is a good week, got some stuff in. It's a bad week, somebody sold us out, or just no supplies and whatnot. And you get that little taste of market, right? You're not hardcore checking the markets, but in this way, you get that nice little. It gives you enough of the feeling of that there's a real economy without trying to hardcore track a real, quote unquote, real economy. And then we get a random customer or customers. The general store does not exist in a vacuum. There are other customers other than the party. When the party is there, I think is what they mean. There will be others there shopping. Depending on the results, could be a positive or negative encounter, which might give you an in or an out, depending on how that works. With Sam, we get a D8's worth of those, and then we get some rumors. Oh, and then you get some extra pages to track stock. Very cool. Check out, who is this? Tim Short's Patreon to grab that one. It is free. And very nice. Get back to Reddit. Give that an upvote. Give that an upvote. Is it just I feel like it's just this today. It's I don't know. I'm just running into all great stuff. Sometimes I feel like I'm struggling a bit to find things in the OSR Reddit, either just because of my own limitations or whatever. But man, it's been a really fruitful dive today. Exalted Funerals having a Black Friday sale. Okay, this one, the Big Wet. I think this is not going to be something I'll be able to grab today, but it certainly seems interesting. The Big Wet, a post-Diluvian RPG. I'll just read the spiel here because why not? I don't want to sign up for the newsletter right now. Thank you. The world has flooded again. Maybe it's 2030, maybe it's tomorrow, but it's flooded again. Your scavengers delving into the flooded ruins of the old cities to look for dry world treasures that couldn't be saved. The work is dirty, dangerous, and wet. The Big Wet is a post-Diluvian survival RPG. Sometimes in the not-too-distant future, it started raining and never stopped. You play scavengers delving into the flooded ruins of the old world, hunting for dry world artifacts to ship inland. This is like Waterworld the game. Design contains a D100 roll under over system using stats and your character's slowly rising wet score, fast, brutal combat, simple but vicious terrain types, 2 introductory adventures, tables upon tables of stuff. Cool. I'll put a link to this. Maybe I'll try to get a hold of it. I'll reach out and see if I can get it. Because one thing I think that this might be interesting in the sense that one of the things where we usually kind of fall flat a little bit is underwater stuff because it just doesn't come up much. If these have really good rules for underwater adventuring that might be applicable outside of their own system, that might be a really good resource. Big Wet at Exalted Funeral. All right. Interested in that? You can get it today. It is $6. Oh, oops. I don't want to do that. Wrong button. Give them a vote. All right, here's another one. Sprawlscape, which I'm not familiar with. Extended design notes, world building, and the organic sandbox. All right, so this one is a continuation of something with Network 23. Anyone know what Network 23 is? Should I go look at that one first? Not sure what Network 23 is. This one old? Okay, that one's it's an RPG, but maybe it's not. Maybe this one specifically is an OSR ish. Is anyone familiar with anyone in the chat? Sprawlscape? Does that ring a bell from anyone? Might as well read it because we're here and I like the gist of it, and I'm always interested in reading design notes. Okay, here's new design note for Sprawlscape, the Cyber City setting module I'm working on. It's on Kickstarter, link at the bottom. I'll put a link to this Reddit. Okay, Ovaltine Patrol and Walking the Path both have not heard of Sprawlscape. Probably because it's a Kickstarter, I guess. I will put a link to this if folks want to follow. Okay. So that might be why nobody's heard of Sprawlscape, because it's not out, not actually out yet. Sprawlscape is a setting module for Mothership. 3PP, I'm not sure what 3PP is. Network 23 in any cyberpunk game. I guess Network 23 is their game. It guides you through the creation of a megacity using a deck of cards. That's cool. Sprawlscape is a machine. It's a different way to do world building. It's engine, samples, effects, music production, workflow. It's the RPG equivalent of a drum machine, synthesizer, and step sequencer all in one. Well, it sounds like it certainly is got some aspirations. It all starts with a matrix, an empty table of your favorite card deck. I use a Killer Bees deck in the picture. Was there a picture? A single table with 52 entries encoding a deck of standard cards. Each card corresponds to a sector, which description is found in the manual, or the flip side of the mega deck. Okay. The value of a card corresponds to an urban environment: plaza, high street, market, maze, fortress, dead end. The pips can be visualized as interconnected, notable locations. Each card can be used for geomorph inspiration. What are the pips? I know the pips on dice. What are the pips on a card? The value of the card corresponds to an urban environment. The pips can be visualized as an interconnected, notable location. I'm not sure what that means. The value versus the pips? Walking the Path says, I've not touched Mothership. I have not either, but I've heard things about it. People seem to like it, and I think maybe. I mean, I'm hoping with these design notes that you get inspiration that can be used outside of Mothership. Like, for instance, right now we're not reading about anything that's particularly Mothership centric. I think the idea of using cards to do stuff is interesting. I'm not sure about the value versus the pips of the card, what they're talking about. But maybe it's that on a six of clubs, like on dice, you see the 6 on there. But, 6 hearts or 6 clubs or 6 spades, and that's what that means? Maybe? I don't know. All right, and then suits encode transport mode and water lines. All clubs are waterways, all spades are connected by metro, etc. Each district has a 1d4 table for additional features. All right, so it looks like if I was going to take this and make it even more generic, you can draw cards. I guess you're 1 through 9, or 1 through, was it 1 through, is there, 1 through 10, whatever it would be, or 2 through 10 would be, okay, you're flipping cards, plaza, high street, market. And you could definitely take those and create a fantasy version. And it'd be interesting to think about, well, what would your face cards be? Jack, queens, kings. I guess aces could just be ones, but they might be special in some way. Depending on the suit, you get the transport, which is interesting if you think about, here it's sci-fi, you think about, okay, maybe it's underground railways or monorails, or in this case, saying, hey, clubs are waterways, spades are all connected by some kind of metro. In a fantasy situation, and you're looking at medieval, kind of medieval style, maybe what would that be? It might be large roads, you know, grand avenues, streets, maybe small streets, uh, mazy alleyways kind of thing. Or maybe you think about it, say canals versus streets, I don't know, versus something else. Or you could even break it down in a different way. So it's kind of neat to use cards in that way. There's a set of databases that can interact with each other. Okay, and then we get world building with a deck of cards. Switching from dice to cards and world building allowed me to find a more organic way to create an environment. Cards are naturally disposed in grids, which is perfect for urban territory. Certainly in the sci-fi sense, but there's something I think if I back this out into maybe more generic or fantasy, to not such neat sprawl, right? Old cities don't tend to be neatly organized in grids. Cards can be encoded with information way better than dice. That's true. There's definitely more things, right? There's color, suit, number, faces, etc. Though color and suit, aren't they pretty much the same? I mean, I suppose you could, if you're making your own custom set of cards, color them. Well, I guess you have two color, right? I guess by default, right? You have red and you have black. So reds, spades, or hearts and diamonds, black, clubs and spades. So yeah, I guess it gives you some different ways to organize it. If you get colors, so what did that tell you? If you get, you have two different colors, four suits, however many numbers, faces. That's true. Well, the world at a glance: 13 rows and 4 columns. This table is an organism. Okay, sure. And they built some different tables. Sprawlscaper, Poshscaper, awesome dynamic effects, clocks. I'm not sure what that is, but you have riots, control, and suspect. One gang generator, algorithm. All right, so we're getting a lot of details here. Map is not the territory. All right, I like that line. The map of the city is always common knowledge. The clocks are player face, and the players know what's going on in the whole city, more or less. I see. So the clocks, I guess that's like fronts, presumably. All right. So we got some different things. Oh, and there is a post with pics. I might have, see, if I would have scrolled to the bottom, I might have gone back to. So just to put a cap on this, here's the design notes. Notes with pics. I'd like to see the pictures. Okay. Ah, what are those little wheels? Are those like poker chips? That's interesting. The kind of poker chip idea, or whatever that chip idea, is pretty cool. This seems like this kind of system of laying out something like this seems like it would be really neat in terms of playing either. I mean, real I was thinking playing in person. Oh, Raid LC. Hey, Raid LC says the Kickstarter has picture examples. Okay, well, I'll check it out. Maybe this is the same pictures as here. Ah, look at that. Okay, so using. Oh, I got you. And then it has Jack, Queen, King. The rows of thoughts. So the suit, off grid, jungle, districts, or slums. And then the numbers. All right. That's pretty neat. I feel like you could definitely tailor this if you needed a big city. It went up recently after Mothership box set. I see. Okay. Well, thanks for the info. Well, this might be intriguing to some folks. I have not. I like. Who was it that said walking the path? I have not messed around with Mothership. But I'll put a link to the Kickstarter. It is the Friday after Thanksgiving, and so hey, let's be generous. Be generous, Mr. Spade. Be generous. So this is, what's this called again? Sprawler. I am not affiliated, just throwing that forward. Why not? Mangusta Express presents Sprawlscape. How are we doing on time? 10 minutes left. 10 minutes on the clock. All right. That was the big wet. We got that. Where was this? Oh, here we go. Yes, a reminder, rate and review stuff on platforms like Drive-Thru, Amazon, etc. Yes, please. Let's look at the cable. One-page adventure. I will link to this. Then I will go to Google Drive. Radio C says it reminds me of Vornheim a bit. Do we have a more modern successor to Vornheim? I don't think so. Nothing mind. Nothing comes to mind. Radio C also says Mothership can be fun if you like Dead Space and Alien. Great one shots or mini campaigns. Oh, cool. I do want to look at it. I do want to look at it. Maybe I'll have to grab it. I'm not sure if I actually own it or not. I might. All right, here's a link to Cave Across the Hills. Download it. It's actually downloading. It is. Let's open you up. Okay, now I can zoom in a bit. Oh, I didn't see who. Oh, here it is. It's by Lucas Gary, LTG. Does that mean it's Creative Commons license 2021, or is that just copyright? I don't know. Maybe Creative Commons. Quote, "A million years ago, we used to live there, in harmony with the bears and no names for the things." That was an old hermit. And then another quote, "If you guys need to get there, the only way is through the cave across the hills." So says a simple merchant. Radio C says, love Sean McCoy ability to cram so much info onto a page. Absolutely. All right, so first let's look at the map. Oh, Mothership is free. I should do a rule. You're right, Radio C. I should absolutely do a read through. C. I'll put it on my list. Because I do like some sci-fi. I don't get to touch on sci-fi very much. The map is fairly expansive. I like it. It's a very simple style, but it has a very nice kind of naive style. It looks like it's almost like crayon, but kind of close. Charcoal, really rough but usable grid. I like the fact that some of the lines, it shows some messiness, which I think has a really cool style. What are you looking at here? About 21 areas. Hey, Walking the Path. I covered a bunch of one-page dungeons over a couple of streams. Contest winners, so you should check that out if you weren't following me at that time and you're interested in some other one-page dungeon kind of reviews, looks. That was fun. All right, so first area. The entrance of the cave is quiet. The stone is predominantly light gray. Some petroglyphs can be found on the outer walls, and some bones are scattered around. And then we get a little image here. I like these kind of, I guess, looks like it's the image of what the cave entrance looks like from the outside. So we're getting almost an adventurer's eye view. And it looks like we have this for, they don't all have that, but they all have some kind of image showing some detail, which is cool. It's a nice touch. No words about what the petroglyphs are of, We just have to invent that ourselves. From that main entrance, there's only one way to go, assuming we're going into the interior. A big chamber full of stalactites and natural stone columns. Possible cave bear encounter, 2 and 6. Light comes from the outside, but the corners are dark, especially on the way to chamber 12. So a couple of typos. From this chamber, the potential cave bear lair. And that's the one thing. So if a cave bear's here, is this the cave bear's lair? If so, it might be nice to call that out, because if it is the lair, then we might want to look up what kind of treasure that cave bears have. You look in your resource of choice, and then that could be something to put in there and talk about. So in this case, we don't know, because we're not told. So we'll probably just have to determine that ourselves. I'm going to go in numerical order when there's branching paths. So in this case, there are 2 exits from this room going forward, or deeper into the caves, I should say. The one we shall follow at the moment is to the 3rd room, which is, it's very dark, and the way to chamber 4 is concealed and can only be found by looking for secret passages. There are some wall paintings near the secret passage, and there's a chance of a bat attack. 2 and 6 chance will disturb some bats. If we look for secret doors, we can get to area 4. Since area 4, there's another way there. I'm going to back up. So if we did not find the secret passage to area 4, we would have to backtrack and go the other way from chamber 2, ending up in chamber 12. In this dark chamber, faint smell of rotten meat comes from the tunnel to chamber 13. Chance of an undead bear encounter coming from chamber 13. So we had a live bear encounter potential, and now we have an undead bear encounter potentially. Speaking of chamber 13, that's the only way forward from this room. Part of this chamber is lit from cracks in the ceiling. Entrance to chamber 14 is an opening 20 feet up the wall, and to chamber 15 is covered with rubble. Chance of an undead bear encounter, 3 and 6. So to get to 14, we got to go 20 feet up the wall. To get to 15, it's covered in rubble, but does that mean that they have to clear it, or is it just kind of a climb? So area 14, a tight tunnel leads to this small chamber. Some wall paintings tell a story of a hunter. Beneath stones, a skeleton wrapped in remains of leather. Hidden inside the corpse is a small bone dagger. +1 versus beasts, but easy to break. Well, we don't know what easy to break means, but is +1 versus beasts. Then the larger chamber, the one that's getting through, is covered in rubble. The burial chamber, several skeletons wrapped in leather lie in fetal position. Chance of reanimating 1d6 unarmed skeletons, 2 and 6. Hidden in the northern corner, there's an ancient figurine sculpted in bone. No worth is given, but it looks nice. It kind of looks like one of those earth goddess, earth mother kind of figurines. The only other exit from this chamber is back to chamber 4 through a normal style passageway. An opening in the top lets the light in. In the center lies a skeleton of a beast. Chance of reanimating a huge cave bear, skeleton, 2 and 6. If the creature is defeated, a ghost bear appears, roaring loudly, and flies away. If the hunter's dagger was found, after the bear dies, it glows, and the hunter's ghost joins the bear, and they fade away side by side. Oh, that's pretty sweet. A lot of cave bears in here, both living and dead. There are 2 more passages leading from here. I think, so one other thing that's kind of nice, it's not really showcased enough, but I'm noticing, I believe, so the grid at the floor of the caves is painted in 2 shades of pink. And what I'm beginning to suspect, I believe, is that this is actually pretty clever. It's showing light. So in the rooms that have some kind of light source, the light pink, I believe, is showing which areas of the rooms are illuminated, have some illumination, and then which ones are dark. So the darker pink is stuff that's in darkness. The lighter pink stuff is stuff that has some light coming in from somewhere, and they have been putting in the descriptions kind of where the light is. So that's very cool. It's probably worth a call out somewhere on the map itself. I guess it doesn't look like there is one, but it would have been nice to point that out. But I think once you click and say, "Oh, that's what it is," that's like, "Oh, that's really cool." Well, like I said, call it out. Call it out. Put somewhere. Hey, this dark squares unlit, light squares lit, or illuminated. That was area 4, or chamber 4, as they're saying. Chamber 4 leads to a passage which we can get to chambers 5 and 6, and there's another passage leading to chamber 16, but I'm going to go in numerical, go in low numbers if possible. So we're going to head to chamber 5. This area is partially lit from cracks in the distant stone ceiling. Roots from the tree in the hill dangle down, and strange webs are all around. Chance of giant spiders attack 2 and 6. I do like these kind of pseudo random encounters. The creatures themselves are not random, but the chance that they might be there is. So that's nice. Chamber 5 also leads to chamber 6. This area is deeper, and there is a strange skull-shaped stone glowing green. If touched, 6 armed skeletons emerge from the corners surrounding the party. If the stone is destroyed, no more undead or skeleton enemies appear, and ghosts of people and bears show. Some cavemen, some adventurers, then slowly dissipate. So you can essentially this. Okay, a couple of things. It could be written a little bit more clearly. However, something I really like a lot. Right, there's a thing here that is explaining. It's a little bit of lore of the place. We don't know why there's a glowing stone here, but or skull-shaped stone here. However, what we can say is, as the GM, we can say that from it's mostly explicitly explained is the reason why they're all this undead here is this skull-shaped stone. If the party messes around with a stone, makes that connection, and then destroys it, then they've made their lives easier because all the undead encounters will go away. But there's that extra difficulty because some skeletons are going to pop. They're going to deal with it. If they just ignore it or miss it or leave it alone, then things will be going as normal. But it's a nice touch because I like that, hey, even though it's not saying it, there's a reason. Why are all the undead here? Well, because somebody at some point crafted this skull-shaped stone here, or maybe it was a weird, just naturally occurring evil artifact, or maybe we could come up with reasons. You could even tie this into further adventures. Is some cult going around, essentially making undead nests, kind of colonies, by plunking these stones in places where there are lots of unsettled dead around. Maybe that's something. And in that sense, I think it would have been nice to call out because it's an interesting feature that could be a hook, could be something you could feed into other campaigns as opposed to just being kind of hidden as kind of a little thing. But it's a nice touch, nonetheless. That was Area 6. From Area 6, we could get Chamber 17, Chamber 7, or Chamber 8. We're going to go to Chamber 7, in which there's a single legless armed skeleton. A single legless armed skeleton is slowly dragging itself in the way to Chamber 6. Okay, so it's going from where it is. Chamber 6. Chance of a bat attack, 3 and 6 chance. That leads to room 8, chamber 8. The deepest area of the cave. It is wet and damp. There is a secret passage to chamber 9 that needs a search to be found behind wall paintings similar to the ones in chamber 3. So we get more petroglyphs. If we find the secret passage to chamber 9, moist is dripping from the walls. I'm not sure what that is, but it sounds a little bit gross. Forming a wet puddle. In the mud, a bag that was buried can be found containing a cursed necklace, parentheses, narrative hook, and a few gems. Interesting they call it the cursed necklace as a narrative hook, which I suppose it is, but man, I really feel like the skull-shaped stone is a big hook. But I guess they didn't think so. Lucas Gary, if you somehow you get word of this video and you watch it, the stream, think about playing up the skull-shaped stone. There's no other exits from chamber 9, so we go from chamber 8 over to chamber 10. The path raises gradually in the way to chamber 19. The floor is very slippery, in parentheses dexterity. Presumably you can make some kind of dex check to see if you slip or not. Some weird some weird fungus is growing in the walls. If touched, the mushrooms expel a poison cloud 3 feet by 3 feet. That's very nice. Nice touch. Okay, so from chamber 10, I don't know why some of the numbers are a little bit weird. Because chamber 10, you think, oh, naturally this would lead to chamber 11, but no, chamber 11 is past chamber 19 in connecting to chamber 20. I guess they're doing it purely on placement in sort of a, I guess it's really a counterclockwise movement as opposed to connections. Numbering is always kind of tricky. That one's a little bit funky. All right, so from chamber 10, we go to chamber 19. If you came to chamber 19 from chamber 6, the path crosses a very thin stone bridge over a chasm, which again requires dexterity potentially. In the dark, there are mushrooms that expel a poison cloud, another poison cloud, and a 3 by 3 foot burst if touched. Hundreds of handprints fill the walls, which might suggest touching things, but you don't want to do that. From chamber 19, did we hit chamber 18? I don't think so. So from chamber 19, you can go to chamber 18. It has some secret passages to chamber 17 that I don't think we touched either. So if you head away from the exit from chamber 19, you get to chamber 18. This area is taken by strange fungi. Touched, we got more mushroom expelled poison clouds. There's a chance of an infected cave bear and 1 to 3 unarmed skeletons here. The way to chamber 19 is a steep climb down. The only access is from chamber 17, right? And which chamber 17 has 2 you can get to from chamber 16, which has 2 secret passages to from chamber 17 to chamber 18. Hopefully I'm not confusing everybody. This chamber, aka chamber 17, is empty and there are cracks and letting some light in, which we can see in the lighter pink squares. On the darkest corner, there is a small ruined stone altar. Next to it can be found a cracked pot and further away a bone spearhead. That if set in the altar with the figurine found in chamber 15, there is a rumble and the ways to chamber 18 open, which otherwise are impossible to find. All right, but you can get to chamber 18 other ways. So that is good. And then we get finally back to chamber 20, which is heading towards the exit. The exit can be seen, chamber 21, and the way to chamber 11 can only be found looking for secret passages. There is a mural of paintings and petroglyphs on the east wall. If examined carefully, parenthetically intelligence, it resembles music notation. If the bone flute, I suppose flute and not fute, otherwise I'm not sure where the fute is, but if the bone flute is used to play it, with a feeling of nostalgia, everybody heals. 1 to 2 hit points. Where is there a bone flute? Okay, so in chamber 11, which is that secret passage, see the room off the secret passage from this room, the room we were just in, the paintings and carvings on the wall are different here, seeming almost like they were more recently made. In a corner, buried in stone, one skeleton lies wrapped in ancient leather. If searched, it almost opens its hand, showing a small bone flute. Why not just it does open its hand? So there's the bone flute, and if you take it back and play it, you can get some healing. And then heading out, fresh air is a relief. Beyond the woods, there can be some smoke or sign of the nearby village. Over the next week, the party has a chance of intestinal infection from the fungal spores. Ew. Love me some intestinal infection. Okay, that was by Lucas Gary. The Cave Across the Hills. Could use some cleaning up of typos, not sure. Some of the stuff has that feeling of just, like it's, I don't want to say a first draft, but it probably could use one more pass. But hey, it's free. And there's a lot of cool stuff in here. The numbering is, I probably would have numbered it differently myself. However, That's not really a big issue. I really like the style of it. I like the drawings. It's got some interesting flavor. Definitely some things you would need to expand upon, like what the cursed necklace, what's the curse, that kind of thing. But that's cool. All right, and going a little bit over time, but what a great way to end it. Have a happy Friday, everybody. Before you all bail out, if you give a thumbs up to the stream, I'd appreciate it. If you found yourself in here or not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Helps me out, doesn't hurt you, and you'll just get informed when I post new videos and whatnot. But as I'm recording this the day after Thanksgiving, hope everyone had an awesome and amazing Thanksgiving. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, hope you just had an awesome and amazing Thursday. Have a great weekend if you are watching this on a Friday, or just a great day, night, whenever you happen to end up checking this out, watching or listening to this. Game on. Talk to you later.